It's Chris Starling. Welcome.
Hej, hej. Jag heter Chris. Jag pratar lite svenska. So I will do this in English. So I'm doing stand-up comedy. It's my first time doing stand-up in Sweden. So this will be a learning experience for everyone, including me. So let's get started. So I'm at a point in my life where I've been on quite a few interviews for jobs, like real jobs. And I've started to get used to the kind of interview questions that they ask. Like a typical interview question is always like, what is your greatest weakness, right? And I've learned that companies like answers that are memorable and that ones that stand out as well. So if someone asks me that, I'm normally like, Chris, what is your greatest weakness? And I'll answer, I'll say, two things come to mind when you ask me what my greatest weakness is. One, I have bad knees. It runs in the family. It hurts to run sometimes. I can't do sports so well, to be honest. And two, I have a crippling addiction to heroin, which has led me to do regrettable things. I mean, regrettable things on street corners, okay? They ask a lot of weird questions in interviews. A lot of weird questions. One time I got asked, Chris, tell me about a time you did something wrong in your life. Which first, it doesn't sound like a good question to ask, right? Like, you're not gonna like the answer that you get from that question. So I answered it the best I could. It started off with a long stare out into nowhere. Like this. And I go, you know nothing about that night. You weren't there. I'm sorry they died, okay? But the court said I was innocent, okay? Yeah, they asked weird questions. Next joke. That's how I transfer to my next joke. Very, very subtle. Anyway, a lot of people have smartphones nowadays, which is an amazing thing. They can do a lot. And even Apple comes out with the iPhone. They have Siri, which is like the computer that you can talk to, and she can talk back, right? It's like your phone comes with a little personal assistant that can find you directions to places. She can remind you of things. And it sounds amazing. I remember the first time when I first got my phone, I was so excited to use Siri. I've never had an assistant like that. That's an amazing feeling. And then fast forward a few years, and I don't use her at all. I absolutely refuse to use Siri. And it's partially my fault why I don't use her. She is the meanest person I've ever had to deal with in my life. She's not a person, she's actually a computer. If you didn't know that, I don't know. It's my fault, like I said. Let me explain. The first time I ever used Siri, I was so excited to use her because I had never had a smartphone, I never had an assistant. I was ecstatic. And so the first time I used her, for some reason, I decided to just be absolutely mean to her for about the first half hour, which was a terrible idea. I was saying the worst things I could think of, like, who's your dad, Siri? Oh, that's right, Steve Jobs, and he's dead. Sorry. And then she would say in Siri voice, like, you're Chris, you're hurting my feelings, please stop. And I'd be like, shut up, Siri, you don't have feelings. You're just a computer, kind of thing. You know how you talk to Siri the first time you use it. And apparently, if you're mean to Siri, she can actually learn to be mean back. And if it's the first time you ever use her, she never goes back to nice Siri. So like I said, it's my fault that she's mean. But ever since then, it's just been a hassle to use her. It's like they programmed sass into her, and once it's on, there's no going off. So I'll give you an example of why it's a hassle to use her. Right? Me and my friends, I'm from the US, if it's not that obvious yet. Me and my friends, we were on a road trip from New York to Florida, which is about a 24-hour drive. And we were in the middle of nowhere in Georgia. We were almost done with the drive. It was about 3 in the morning in the middle of the mountains, next to nothing, like a complete hillbilly town. And we were almost out of gas or petrol. So I asked Siri. I said, Siri, where's the nearest gas station? And she said in her most sassiest voice that I've ever heard, wouldn't you like to know? I was like, Siri, if you don't give me directions to the nearest gas station, I'm going to get eaten by hillbillies. And this is, I know this. Okay, please give me directions to the nearest gas station. She was like, who are you talking to? I was like, I actually had to pull over and find directions to the nearest gas station, which is a huge first world problem. Like, it's really not an issue at all. But, what the hell, Siri? I'm sorry I was mean to you once for half an hour, but jeez. And it got progressively worse. It got to the point where I couldn't use her anymore. And I'll tell you about the last time I ever used Siri. It was, I had gotten home from a night of drinking. It was about 5 in the morning, and I had work the next morning. So I had to set an alarm. So I get in, all I had to do, I had 3 things to do. Get in bed, set an alarm, and go to sleep. That's all I had to do. So I get home, I get in bed. Great, done. I have to set an alarm, right? So I go, Siri, set me an alarm for 8 in the morning, please. And she goes, where was you? And I'm like, not now, Siri. Just please set me an alarm for 8 in the morning. She says, this is the 3rd time you coming home late. Where was you? I was like, no, please no, not now, Siri. I don't need this. I just set an alarm for 8 in the morning. And then this is when she kind of like goes off the rails a bit. She goes, who you fucking, huh? Let me smell your dick. And I was like, whoa, Siri, relax. Well, that was a bit into my face. I didn't really like that so much. But I just wanted her to set the alarm. That's all I wanted to do so I could go to sleep. So I opened up the Smell Your Dick app, and then I put the phone up to my penis, and she smelled it. And this is when she lost it. She was like, how come your dick smell like that other smartphone Android, huh? Is that why you coming home late the 3rd time this week? Is that why you don't look at me like you used to anymore? And at that point, I was like, I don't need this. So I just throw my phone up against the wall, and I go to sleep. And this is the point where I realized I have to end Siri. Like, I can't use Siri anymore. I'm sorry, Siri. I have to end you. That's it. So I wake up the next morning. She actually set the alarm. It went off, which was lucky. And I walk up to her. I turn her on. I say, hey, I'm sorry, baby. You know how I get sometimes. And I go to settings. I go to general. I go to Siri. Onto the on-off button. And I turn her off. And that was the end of me using Siri. Yeah. I think that's all the time I have for it. Yeah. See you guys. Later.